All right. My name is Peter Laird. I'm from Salesforce. We are going to talk about the Bazel Eclipse feature, which we just open sourced on Monday. Before we talk about the feature, let me explain our use case. So I'm on the microservices container team at Salesforce, and so we're building libraries, authoring libraries that get used by a bunch of microservices teams at Salesforce to build microservices and deploy them to production. So we build libraries to interact with metric systems and whatnot. And so we built out a monorepo with all of our libraries about a year ago based on Bazel. But now we're to the point where we're trying to get all of our services teams to also come into our repo. And so when we make a change to one of our libraries, then we'll know right away if we break one of our services. But that's been going slowly. We're asking these services teams to make a lot of changes. First, they have to give up control of their own Git repo and move into ours. Second thing they need to do is move from Maven to Bazel. So that's a second big change. But also we have a lot of, this is all Java code, and we have a lot of developers using Eclipse. And so that's a third big change. If they come into the monorepo, they need to switch to IntelliJ. So we decided to invest in the Eclipse IDE solution, and so that's what we just open sourced. So there was an early version from Google. A couple people at Google wrote one a couple years ago, but it was abandoned, so we picked it up and dusted it off, and we've put some time into it. So it's available now at that link. But once again, the primary mission for us as a team is supporting Java developers. And pretty much all these projects have already a Maven-like layout. And so, especially with this first version, you'll see a lot of limitations to it, focused on what we're really targeting. But it's available now. So what works? Pretty much it has feature parity with M2 Eclipse for doing basic Java development. So you can do code refactoring, syntax highlighting, code completion, all that kind of stuff. When you import the project, what we do is we actually stole the M2 Eclipse import wizard, and we'll scan through your Bazel repository looking for Java projects and bring those in. Each Java package that we find gets imported as an Eclipse project, and then then you're ready to go for development. So this is what it looks like. So here's the import wizard we took from M2 Eclipse. It'll go through your Bazel workspace. You can selectively choose which packages you want to bring into the IDE. And then as it comes in, then each package comes in as an Eclipse project. So each Eclipse project has its own class path. So it's not a global class path. It's specific to your, so we're reading the Bazel build files and doing that correctly. The architecture is similar to M2 Eclipse, so we've got the Java development tools from Eclipse, the standard ones that have been there for years. And then we have the features implemented as a number of plugins, and it interacts with the Bazel executable on your machine. It runs aspects to determine the dependency data from your build files. And we also, when you change a file, we'll run the build from the command line. So if you have things in your Bazel RC file, whatever, that does get applied. And then we parse the output and put those into your Eclipse problems view. In terms of futures, we're working on import. It's pretty slow right now. We know why, but we just need to invest in time in making that better. Also, the IntelliJ plugin has a project view scheme, which we really like, which is a file that decides what packages you want to import into your IDE. So we're working on that too. Also, right now, like I said, we really only import correctly Java projects that kind of look like a Maven project. So it has a top-level build file, source main Java, source test Java. We can make that more flexible for sure. So we're working on that as well. Further out, we might do a build file editor if there's interest. We're not really focused on that right now. Also, right now, you can only have a single Bazel workspace in your Eclipse workspace. It's a limitation if you often work with multiple Bazel workspaces. And then some things that are a bit out of our scope, and unless there's high demand, we probably won't work on them. And that is non-Java languages in Eclipse. Also, we often get the question, are you going to do this as a language server? Once again, what we're doing right now is working well for us, so we're probably not going to do that, at least in the near future. And then also, there's some things, limitations in the Java development tools in Eclipse that put a lot of constraints on what we can do. And so right now, we're not committing to try and go change JDT, because JDT has been around forever. It's probably going to be hard to change what they're doing. But Bazel is a lot more flexible than Maven, and so there are some limitations that I'm not sure we can overcome. And that's it. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Earlier, the Wix presentation showed the Exodus tool, which created one Bazel package for each Java package, and it seems like if you were to use this tool with that layout, you would end up with a jillion projects, and that would suck.
Yeah, so that's this one. So yeah, that's yeah. Right now we once again we're really targeting people that are coming from the Maven world, and so they have one pom.xml per module, and so this just hasn't been a priority. But yeah, that is definitely something we need to fix. All right, thank you.
Question. So you have a mix of IntelliJ and Eclipse users in Salesforce?
We do.
And for IntelliJ, are you just using the Bazel plugin that's Google pushes out? Okay.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks a lot.